Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now. Yes, it is the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Dave Drew, and I'm joined by Chops Michael Mills. Chops, how you doing?
Man, come on, brother. You know what it is. I'm happy to be here another day, seeing another sunlight, a sunset, being able to talk combat sports. Love it.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff going on in MMA this coming weekend and hopefully in the next coming months. And then also a lot to recap from boxing over the weekend. So there's a lot of combat sports going on. There's so much to talk about. We only got an hour to do it, right? So we're gonna jump in.
Man. I know. So I'm ready to get into it, man. Real quick, how was your how you feeling, man? I mean, it was a bittersweet weekend. Your boys, your Lions get the win, but you lose. You won the battle, but you lose the war. You lost Hutchinson. How are you feeling?
Ooh, wow. That's going to be a great topic we're going to cover in the Sports Peninsula podcast this week for sure. Yeah, it sucked. I mean, a gruesome injury, first of all. Probably the worst one I've seen. It reminded me of Tim Krumrie from the Bengals in the Super Bowl back in the day. And it always, it evokes thoughts of Joe Theismann, which is still the worst one I've ever seen.
Yeah. Without question. I think we can all get, yeah.
So, but it not good at all. I mean, the bright side is it sounds like by all accounts, he's going to be 100% when he's ready to come back, which likely is next season. They're shopping right now. But at the end of the day, other than if Jared Goff went down for them, I think that the Lions are in really good shape and it's going to be next man up. But yeah, that's a void they got to fill because they've got to generate a pass rush. But they're still 4-1, and we still got high hopes in the D here, so we're pretty happy. And your Steelers are going with Russell Wilson this weekend, huh?
Woo, I know, man. I love my Steelers. I just don't see it, and I get that your boy Fields has not been playing lights out. But that O-line is Swiss cheese, and his legs have made a lot of plays that simply Russ is not going to be able to make. He's just not going to be able to make them. He's not going to be able to roll out. He's not going to be able to scramble for some of the first downs that Fields did. So we'll see, man. We'll see. We will see, man. But you know why we're here. Everybody knows why we're here.
You got it. Let's talk some MMA, man. Baby. Let's talk some MMA. Let's start out, Chops. Dustin Porier is calling out for a 4-man single night. Best man finish
the tournament. Bad motherfucker tourney.
Is that what it is? Bad
BMF. Yeah, the BMF.
Okay.
And it started out with Nate Diaz Nick. I want to say Nick Diaz, and I'm looking right at him, and I can't think. I can't think of. I'll think of it. But it started out with one of the Diaz brothers. And he fought, he ended up losing, but it was 2 bangers. So, and I'm looking right at the cat, and I can't believe I can't think of him. But here's the thing. It will be interesting because that is going back to the way the UFC started. Multiple fights in a night. However, they almost lost their sponsorship with the UFC. And not even sponsorship. They almost lost their license here in the United States because they had to make it more like boxing. Weight classes, 1 fight per night, whatever have you. They couldn't do it that way. Now they're global and they can have this overseas since they've technically, if they wanted to, if it was an issue with that. And I'll be honest with you, I'm liking all 4 of those guys. The only one I may not put in there would be Hooker. And I'd like to see Charles Oliveira rather than Hooker.
Okay.
Because Charles Oliveira, but any given night, first off, even if it was these 4 guys, not Oliveira, but if you swapped out Hooker for Oliveira, regardless of which 4 you took, there's going to be blood, and it's going to be an event that will be talked about for literally years to come, because that truly will be violent with a lot of blood that night. But it would be good. Woo-wee! That'd be a good one.
This would be like a tournament then, right?
Yeah, so let's say, just say, Armin, the top 2, Poirier, and the crazy part is, like, I want to say Poirier has already beaten Holloway, and Holloway beat Gaethje. Gaethje beat Poirier. I don't know where Dan Hooker fits in this, if he's fought in any of those cats. I'm not sure. But you can bring them in. I mean, they're all warriors. It would be good. So, like to hypothetically say, oh, and the crazy part is Poirier and Gaethje would be a hell of a fight. Man, and it would be a good one, regardless of how the first, the second fight, the final, it would be a good one. It would be a good one. I know that. And I definitely tune in for that, Joker.
Yeah, when did I don't know when that came about and when Poirier issued that?
Last week, I want to say it was Monday. Just talking to somebody on a podcast, he was talking about it. I want to say it was Monday. And to be honest with you, they spoke to Dana White about it, and he was like, you can never rule anything out, because now since they're global and they go to other countries,
yep,
they're not bound by the same rules and laws. So that, you know what I mean? Or they could just sanction it differently over there. You know what I mean? So oh man, I tell you what though, if that happens, it could be huge, because they'll have that in other weight classes now. They will have it in other weight classes now. So it'll be a good one. It will be a good one. Yeah,
I'm really curious to see when they get this ink, if they get it inked. But yeah, it would be something really. I definitely would be tuning into that one, no question.
And the crazy part about it is there may be a few kicks thrown, couple head kicks, but it will be nothing on the ground. It will be all stand up all night.
They're all strikers.
Yes, yes, and I mean every last one of them. Okay, let's put it this way. When Holloway last fought Gaethje, I thought Gaethje broke his own neck, because Holloway went like this. Let's do it for the last 10 seconds. Let's just throw in the middle order in the octagon. He hit your boy Gaethje with a right hand, and hands fell, and he just fell. I thought he broke his neck the way his head hit the mat. And I want to say it was a kick the way Gaethje beat Poirier the last time, and I thought he was dead, hit him, and just it was out of nowhere. But I want to say when Holloway and Poirier fought, it went to distance. It was nasty, but it went to distance. But you know what I mean? And Gaethje's actually they all should be really at the end of their careers. But I know Poirier is saying he wants one last hurrah, and this is it. This is it. He's not in line for another title fight. So if he wants to go out battling for the BMF, by all means. And all those guys have earned it. Even if you stick with Hooker, those guys have earned it. And honestly, I'm not even saying Hooker's one of the better fighters who should be in there, but he's a warrior. When he loses, he goes out on his shield. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can see why they're throwing him in there. And I'm not mad at it.
No, it sounds awesome, actually. It's definitely a throwback.
Yeah. And why I'd like to see that, though, but Oliveira, he beat both Gaethje and Poirier. But Poirier and Gaethje had knocked him down, but he was able to survive it and end up choking him out Now, that would be Oliveira would like to take it to the ground, but that's the crazy part. He could get knocked out, or you think you could have him and go down for some ground and pound, and he choke you out. So it's whoever they choose, man, whatever four combats, it's going to be a good one. It would be a good one if they can sign that.
Definitely looking forward to that for sure. Let's talk about another fight here that's coming up this weekend here. Francis Ngannou and Renan Ferreira. We just saw Ngannou fight twice against Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua in boxing. We know Joshua put him out in the second round, but man, he rocked Fury, knocked him down, and many argue he won that fight. Now he's back in the PFL here. Talk about this one, Chops.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget. Well, first, don't forget, in Portuguese, the R isn't pronounced. So it's Renan Ferreira, right? Renan Ferreira. Now, you can think, and you'll sort of like this because it could be a good stand-up, right? Yes, in those small gloves, Ngannou's one of the hardest punchers in the heavyweight division, right? And forget the heavyweight division in MMA. But you have Pereira, who is just as big. He's a few inches taller. He's 6'8". I think Ngannou's 6'4", 6'5", somewhere around there, 6'3" to 6'5". So Ferreira is definitely bigger, the bigger man. He hits just as hard. But let's not forget, man, if you've ever seen this guy work out, he has some jiu-jitsu submissions. He's Brazilian. And I've seen him work out where he's done backflips, cartwheels, and the roundoffs and the backflips on the beach. There's no spring on the beach. And that's what this guy, 6'7", 6'8", 250, 260 pounds is doing. So he's a hell of an athlete, man. And Ngannou throws heavy. Yes, Ngannou now has learned some boxing to stay in the pocket, which will help him. So his head shouldn't be exposed. He should be able to keep it tucked under his guard. But man, and Ferreira has so much. He's a better athlete. He's more athletic. I don't know if he's a better athlete, but he's more athletic. Just the way, like I say, he can flip and do that. And he's got a better toolbox. Not saying his punches are more crisp, because now, Ngannou does have a boxing background, so you have to give that some respect. But man, and his reach is so long. You know what I mean? His reach he just keeps coming. It just keeps coming at you. So that also, to me, is going to be, I believe, Pereira is a better fighter. I believe he's more athletic. I believe he has a deeper toolbox. I believe he has more ways to beat Ngannou. Ngannou is not going to beat you on the ground. He can pound ground and pound, but he can't beat you from the ground. He's not going to beat you from the ground. Mm-hmm. But everything Ngannou can do, hit hard, throw heavy punches, deliver a knockout blow, Renan can do, but he can do more. So I would say, if I was going on that aspect and it's boxing, or where even up, whatever have you, you got to go with Pereira. But they're that big, throwing that heavy of punches. I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if it goes past, 5 minutes? If it goes longer, the entire fight goes longer than 7.5 minutes, I'll be surprised. But your boy Ngannou has been in a couple big fights where he didn't throw a lot of punches. And what we thought were going to be barn burners turned out to be lackluster. One of them being against, the Black Beast, Lewis. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm hoping Renan comes out and just starts throwing bombs. In regards to who wins it, leather's going to fly. I got to believe leather's going to fly.
Yeah, like that. You got a thought on who might take this one?
I'm going to go with Ferreira. I really am. I'm going to go with Ferreira. I am. I'm going to go with him. I know you may have never seen it, but his reach is just so long. And I don't know, he may throw the T kick just to start a low front snap kick to the midsection toward, whatever solar flex, just to get distance, just to keep, Ngannou off for a quick second to line up that overhand right. But I'm going to go with Renan. I'm going to go with Renan. That's who I got. Yeah, man.
The size advantage is significant, and then like you said, I've seen highlights of him. His speed is there too. He's super coordinated for a big guy. That's
he really is. He's and if you can go online before the fight and just watch him working on the beach, where he runs, does a cartwheel and a backflip, and then a no hand like spring roll. It's just wow. And you remember on a mat or on a gymnastics mat, there's a little bit of spring. There's no spring on the beach. That sand is giving under your weight of a 260-pound man, and he's still able to get over like that. That's impressive, man. That's impressive. Not 160, 260.
It's be a hell of a fight to watch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
another good one coming up. Cris Cyborg's coming back into the ring against Larissa Pacheco. How do you see this one?
Honestly, man, it stinks because in MMA, they never made the money. They're making more money now, but they're still not making boxer money. But a lot of these fighters in MMA are fighting past their prime. Now, if this could be a Cyborg versus Pacheco now, Cyborg 5 years ago, it'd have been a good one. Cyborg is going to come out. She's going to throw haymakers. And because she throws with a lot of power, it could be interesting. It really could be interesting. But I just think Pacheco's too young, too fast. Not going to say she's not. I'm not going to say she's too strong. Like we said, Harrison was too strong for Caitlin and all her opponents. But with her speed and power, Pacheco becomes too strong. And she can beat you on the ground. She can fight on the ground with a bigger toolbox than Cyborg. So I'm going to go with Pacheco in this. I'd love to see the old bull, the old lion, get one more win, the lioness, as she goes out. But I just don't being able to see her being able to beat Pacheco. I really don't. But I'm telling you now, you could honestly, I believe you could fight this in a phone booth. I believe both of them women are going to sit there and just at some point they're just going to tee off on each other. Then at that aspect, it could be the first one to land, whose ever chin gets tested first.
So I was just going to ask you, that would almost favor Cyborg because
Yeah.
kind of coming in as the underdog in this fight. But anytime you see that, and that's the thing, I never understood why, and I say this a lot in boxing, but in any kind of combat sport, why play into your opponent's strengths in essence? So in that sense, Pacheco would be wise to keep a little distance.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. However, though, what the wily old veteran of Cyborg is, it's not, see, with a boxing ring, if I move certain ways, I can sort of keep off the ropes. You can keep off the cage in the octagon. However, with so many more sides of the octagon, it's easier for me to trap you into the fence. You know what I mean? So at some point, Cyborg may be able to trap her up against the fence, but now you got to come into the lion's den in order to do it. You know what I mean? So she's risking getting her chin checked too. So let's put it this way. I'll be surprised if either one of those fights sees the third round. It sees the end of the second round if we're going to keep it a buck. I'll be highly surprised.
And that's the same PFL card as the Ngannou fight as well. So those are the co-main events right there. And that's gonna be something else.
And there's other fights on it. There's a guy, Michel Pereira. He's 185, and he's not a big heavy puncher, but he almost looks like he'd be a fighter that is just running around jumping. You have no idea. His kicks are from different angles. His punches are from different angles. He'll just do flips anywhere. So he's not really orthodox, but he is so well versed in his unorthodox style. He gives anybody problems.
Now he's gotten caught. He's fighting Anthony Hernandez at the Fight Night 245 for UFC. I've watched a lot of highlights of him. Yeah, he reminds me of Prince Nassim Hamed.
Yes. But he would jump and do flips because it's different. Yes, absolutely. But with Prince Nassim, he would do this, but at that point you knew it was always going to be hands coming. This guy's doing things and he's doing flips and he's adding other things, and he has been caught. Guy lands and boom, a guy just happens to throw, and that's what it is. That's really what it is. But this is a good one. This one's a pick 'em for me. I don't know who to go. This really is a pick 'em for me.
What do you know about Hernandez? What does he bring to the table?
He's strong. He's a good. He's nice on the ground. Strong with his punches. He doesn't. He's a more in the box fighter. But you know what I mean. But Pereira is so off. He's so unorthodox. It's rough for anybody. But I'm gonna go with Hernandez on this. I really am. I'm gonna go with Hernandez on this. I'll be surprised. This one, because they're so different styles, it could see the full 3 rounds. It's not a title fight. It's not a main event. So these will be 3 where the other is scheduled for 5. So we could see all 3 rounds in this one. We could see all 3. It'll be entertaining, but we could see all 3 rounds in this one.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I know we're going to cover this one in a few weeks because this fight's not happening until November. But if you want to touch on John Jones is coming back in the ring, right?
Yes, he's coming back to fight Stipe. And here's the thing. I don't know if this is his last fight or not. And I say that because of this. Skill set wise, he may be the best we've ever seen do it. He may be the best we've ever seen do it. Only 1 loss on his record. And that was because at the time the move was outlawed, the 12-6 straight down elbow. Okay. So and he was winning the fight. And just got lost in a moment. And he had the guy mounted and just threw an elbow he really shouldn't have thrown. He lost that way. Some people say that first fight between him and Gustafsson might have got that one. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, and he comes in and fights Cyril Gane, and I think he taps Cyril Gane out in a move where he takes no punishment and taps him out, I think, in less than 3 minutes. So Stipe is a great wrestler. I don't know if he can match John Jones wrestling. John Jones out-wrestled DC, Cormier. Cormier's top-notch. It doesn't get much better than him. It really doesn't. Mm-hmm. So, and stand-up, I don't see Stipe stand-up being able to match John Jones. But again, when these big guys are throwing with these small gloves on, anything can happen. But if you're going skill set, toolbox, who's the better fighter, the odds, you got to go John Jones. I'd see John Jones finishing it late third round if it goes that far, because both guys are coming off a long layoff. Stipe's is longer. Only reason I'm not sure if this will be John Jones' last fight, Aspinall is fighting for he wants John Jones. He wants Jones. He's done everything. He is an Aspinall, has done everything he's asked and beaten the guys he's supposed to, and he's interim champ. He wants to beat Jones so he can be the outright champ. He's been respectful of it, but he's calling Jones out. I don't know why Jones isn't taking that fight. There's more money in that fight. I don't get it. I don't get that. I don't know if he's planning on, I'll beat, my mindset is I'll beat Stipe, then I'll go for, I don't know, man. I don't know. Now, my buddy, he's my boy, but since knee high to a grasshopper, he likes Stipe. I don't know why, but he likes Stipe. But there are some people going with Stipe. Skill set, though, I'm going John Jones. And I don't want to say an easy one, but anybody can get caught, and that's what it's going to take. I don't see him punishing John Jones for 3 to 4 rounds and then taking him out late for it. I don't see that. It could happen, but I don't see that.
That makes a lot of sense. Looking forward to that. We'll definitely talk more about that in the future.
Oh yeah, without question.
So let's get to the sweet science now. Let's talk a little boxing chops, and let's talk about the Fabio Wardley, Frank Clarke II, the recap, the rematch, all 2+ minutes of it. Oh my gosh. I know when we previewed this fight,
I had Clarke.
Yeah,
I really did. I had Clarke. And you know what? Honestly, I don't know how much of it you watched or if you watched it.
Oh, I watched it.
Wardley came out doing what we thought he would do. I don't know what Clarke was doing. And I say that because he retreated to the corner quick. He didn't throw that jab. He didn't try to hold. He didn't do anything. He didn't try to come spin off the rope. He didn't do anything. That's the last place you want to be with Wardley. You see a lot of times you see big guys like that and they can't go long because those muscles need oxygen. Those muscles need oxygen. Wardley showed he could go the distance, and he's explosive from round 1 through 12. It shocked me that your boy Clarke just sat there. He just sat there. That really shocked me. It didn't shock me that when he landed, that's how you were going to look. That's how you were going to look, because Clarke got caught with some good shots in the first one, but nothing like that in the first one. But he was on his bike, had his hands up, stood behind that jab. I told you in the first one, before the second round was up, he had really demolished Wardley's nose. He didn't establish that jab, but kudos to Wardley and his team. He didn't allow him to establish that jab. He didn't stay far enough away. He brought the fight to him. Yeah. Got to give him props on that. Got to.
Yeah, no question. And when Wardley landed the first right cross that I think did a lot of damage. I mean, you could hear it.
Yes.
It cracked.
Yeah.
And he started pounding on Clarke. Now, Clarke landed an uppercut inside, and he did hurt Wardley. You could see it. But again, he's still recovering himself. And then by that time, Wardley lands the finishing blow, the right hook, and oh goodness. I mean, Clarke's jaw was turned to one side, and he had a knot. And I believe he has a fractured cheekbone. But wow, I mean, just the power. But what I didn't like, Chops, and we talked about this before. Where's the heavyweight division stand? Well, you know, Wardley's cracked the top 10 in everyone's rankings like we thought he would if he won this fight. Here's the problem: I saw a left jab, a left arm guard down, hanging by his waist. Against any fighter worth his salt, that's recipe for disaster.
And here's the crazy part. Again, you didn't see the first one. I wish you had. Clarke was masterful with that jab. I mean, masterful. When I'm telling you, he busted his nose. Larry Holmes' left jab is what he portrayed, what he showed that first fight. Clarke it was crisp. It was rough. And I thought that he was going to come with that again. So I was shocked when Wardley came out with that hand low. That also showed me he's taking all skill set out of this. He's going straight to the street and making this a bang. He is. Because that's how you see it in the streets. Guys with their hands low and just I was shocked. But here's also what remember, was it Clarke I saw in one top 10, or was it Wardley I saw in one?
It was Wardley.
Okay, Wardley. Okay. Mm-hmm. But Clarke wasn't in the top 10 in any. And I saw Wardley in one. one top 10. I think he was in the 8 or 9. Okay. Yep. So here's my thing. You're 8 or 9, barely cracking the top 10. You had a draw to a guy that had a point deducted for a low blow, and you knocked him down. That's a 3-point swing, and you still got a draw. Okay. So what I'm not getting is how Wardley really cracks the top 10 when he fought a guy that wasn't in the top 10, a guy that this was his 8th or 9th pro fight.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So that's the issues with me in boxing, especially the heavyweight division. Now they're talking about Wardley. Could he even get it? You're saying he's cracked the top 10. Now and I sent you the article, Wardley saying he wants a title shot. Okay, now I don't know who, because there's a lot of different titles. You might get the Glad Saran Wrap title. I don't know. However, the fact that these guys, after a performance of fighting a guy that wasn't even in the top 10, that you had a 3-point swing your way the first fight and you still only fought to a draw. Years ago when Lennox Lewis, Tyson, you in the 80s and 90s, early stuff, you wouldn't have gotten a title shot. You needed to earn it by beating a guy not in the top 10. You don't get a title shot No, not at all. And if the champ had fought you, we'd have been like, why is the champ fighting? I don't want to disrespect. They used to call him tomato cans. And he's not a tomato can, but he's a guy who you would see is not in the top 10 or barely cracking the top 10. And how'd you get in the top 10 by fighting a guy on his 8th fight? That's the problem to me. That's the problem. You know what I mean? But again, he's young. When I say young, not 22, 23 young, but a note of young, comes with a lot of power, can go hard the entire 12. So I'd like to see him fight a Usyk. I'd like to see him fight a Fury. I'd like to see him fight a Wilder or any of the top guys. Bring on whoever you want. I'm with it. I'm with it.
Hey, if he wants Deontay Wilder, that'd be a good one. Zhang's out there. There's other heavyweights that have earned shots before Wardley. And that's just my view of it too. Who have you beaten?
Hold on. Are you saying other fights that have earned title shots before Wardley, or other guys he should fight to earn? Wardley should fight.
I'm saying there's guys ahead of him that would be more in line for a title shot than he is. So to me, we gotta fight those cats.
Well, here's the thing. Who is more in line for a title shot? And I say that because Hrgovic just came off a loss. Wilder has lost. Okay, Zhang, I guess you could put Zhang there, but he's 40. You know what I mean? Dubois, I hear it. He's about to try to run it back with Joshua, which I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't do right now. If I'm Dubois, I just came off of a spectacular performance. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to wait to see who wins Fury Usyk 2, and then I'm stepping in the ring and shoot before – big dog, I'm stepping in the ring and saying I want it now, because you're not going to get the iron will never be hotter. You will never have your stock will never be higher. Think about it. If you go back and you rematch it with Joshua, and it goes about the same, and you end up knocking him out, what do you gain? Nothing. But you can lose something if you happen to lose that fight, or you don't look as good in the rematch. What is there to gain? What is there to gain by running it back? But I guess Dubois was the champ going in. Mm-hmm. So there's only a rematch clause if the champ loses. So he doesn't even have to grant this request for a rematch by Joshua. You know what I'm saying?
As long as it's not contractual, I totally agree with you. Especially if Usyk wins. If Usyk wins, Fury ain't getting another shot at him anytime soon.
No. Okay, so I would ask you this, because you brought up a point I didn't even think about. Okay, you said if it's contractual, why? I'm the champ. You have to ask US to me. I don't have to, right? So why? What, now, and this is hypothetical, because you said if it was contractual, so we don't know. Mm-hmm. But if it was contractual, why would Dubois camp put that in there in the contract that if I win by knockout, I automatically give you a rematch, knowing that if I win and I've got the belt, I'm retaining my belt, I can get the winner of this one? Why? You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't even think about that, and you brought that up. I hope that is, because that is brilliant of a move if it was by Tank's camp to put a rehydration clause in the contract for Garcia, was as asinine if they put that contractually in there. Why? And even if Joshua's camp put it in there, I totally get it. Why Dubois' camp would have signed for? I don't. Why would you have signed for that? If that is the case.
Oh no, it's a great question, and I don't know if it was contractual or not. But at the end of the day, I totally agree with you. Dubois should be at ringside for that Usyk Fury rematch, and if Usyk wins, especially if Usyk wins,
Now, here's also the thing: they is in either camp or Dubois' camp could be. How do I say this? Dangling the carrot, teasing us boxing fans with the rematch. Not that I want to see, but a lot probably would.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't signed anything, and they're not talking until about February or March, right? So you can sign this late December for a March or February, March fight. Mm-hmm. So I can say everything I want to say because next month when that rematch goes down, that's what I want. So I can walk in. I literally on the outside of the arena can do an interview and say, yes, we're looking to get it signed. We're working on it. We're looking to get it signed in February, March. Walk into the arena an hour later after the fight, I can say, yo, I want this fight because I haven't signed anything. So if that's what he's doing, I get that. And I'm feeling that because I just don't. Why run it back with Joshua? If you lost and you want your title back, I get that.
Sure.
I knocked you out in spectacular fashion. And I dominated the fight.
Yeah.
It wasn't close and I caught you. I dominated the rounds that led up to that. You know what I mean? And if you think about it, I was hurt when you were trying to close the distance to finish me. And I ended up coming, you know what I'm saying? When I knocked you out.
Good point.
If I'm Dubois, I gain nothing by a rematch by Joshua. There's nothing to gain. Not to me. Now there's smarter minds in boxing that may see it otherwise. I don't get it.
I mean, the dollars would have to be heavy. The dollars would have to be real heavy for him to do that.
Absolutely. But would they be heavier than a Fury Usyk?
No, my only concern there is they start, and there's some truth to this, right? Dubois champion, he won a vacant title. I get that.
True. But
again, how many big names are there? I think we've already pretty much covered most of them right there. I mean, honestly.
We've got some exciting fighters because you could bring Bacoli, who's whatever. And regardless, man, Big Baby, either one, whether Miller or Anderson, they both can bring it. You know, the one, your boy's been a little disappointing, but he still has the power.
Oh, sure.
So there's a lot of things out there that make sense and entertaining for us fans. But I don't see how you could legitimately say this guy deserves a title shot, this guy deserves a title shot. You know what I mean? So, but just with Dubois, I think, okay, hold on real quick. Back up.
Okay.
Because you did say Usyk, the way he won it in the ring, he didn't win in the ring, or how it was iffy how he got it, whatever. But how could I don't understand why. I just don't get why we're not looking and why he as in Dubois does not already put it out there. I want that winner. Forget. You know what I'll do?
Great question.
That's what I don't. Now I could tell Joshua, look here, you're a great fighter. I'll give you the first rematch. Now you can say whatever, but then once the lawyers and the promotion gets in it, what is what it is. But if I am Dubois, I'm letting them know, Usyk, Fury, you're on notice. You're on notice. And I'm coming for you. And that would be and everybody, anytime I'm in front of a mic, I'm letting people know I want that winner. I'm not even entertaining Joshua. Not even entertaining it. Not me. I wouldn't.
That's smart. I keep circling back to Usyk because it would be a rematch and one that had a little bit of controversy with the low blow that wasn't, right? And Usyk ends up winning the fight, obviously, but at the end of the day, it'd be another unification fight and also a rematch of a pretty decent fight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was. And now, and let's be honest, right? When Usyk beat him, I'm not saying it's the same as when Mayweather beat Canelo, because Canelo is a significantly different fighter now.
Yeah.
However, Dubois is a different fighter. He is a different fighter than the first Dubois that Usyk fought. He now realizes, I hurt you to the body. I saw Fury stun you, hurt you to the body. I saw I may not have watched it, but somebody on my team has had to watch, even an amateur, you've always been suspect to the body. You're always suspect to the body. So if I'm Dubois, Joshua, I love you, but that's not where the money is. Anybody that gets in this that's worth his salt wants to be king, And I don't get that with you. I don't get that fighting you. I just don't.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how the rematch with Fury and Usyk shakes out, and then see if Dubois will do anything between now and then too. So yeah, we'll be definitely open, keeping our ears open.
Yeah, sure. And I'll be honest with you. And if I'm Dubois, I'm already spinning it. Unless Fury knocks Usyk out in spectacular fashion, dominates 3, 4, 6 rounds, and then knocks him out 7th or 8th. Okay, I won one, you won one. All right, then they need to run it back, right?
Yeah.
But if this goes the distance, or Usyk wins again, even if it's another close one, goes the distance and Usyk wins it, or if it's a close one and Fury wins it. If I'm Dubois, I'm like, we've seen this twice. It's not entertaining. Why do we? That's how I'd start spinning it. I tell you, Usyk, I beat you one time. You wimped out. You said it was a body shot or a low blow, and you know it was a body shot. I did something, Joshua, you couldn't do. You couldn't do it. None of you got to do it. That's how I'd start spinning. I'd already worked to spin it because you got to realize perception rules the world. I'm going to perceive it that a third time running it back between you and Fury is boring. I'm going to make it perceived to the public. You ducked me. You found an easy way out when you knew I had you hurt. You said it was a low blow. I did something to Joshua you couldn't do. Fight me. This is where the money is. I know I can. That's how I'm playing it. Now, and again, Usyk doesn't seem to be the type of fighter that may go for that. But if the fans can go for it and you can get the promoters to realize where the money is, that may be what you need to do.
Looking forward to this stuff. It's an exciting couple months here. Let's talk about your boy Tim Bradley. Timothy Bradley called out Tank Davis, and I don't even know what precipitated this, Chops, but he ripped him. Talk about what's your view on this and what exactly did he say?
Oh man, I wish we'd have had this on here. He basically is calling him a piece of shit on there, and he is saying he's a fraud. Now, on this, and he's calling out his team because when he's fighting Roach.
Yeah, Lamont Roach.
Dude, what are you doing? Los Santos is who you should be fighting. We all know Los Santos is who he should be fighting. And here's the thing, and I'm glad he's calling him out, and I wish more veteran fighters would. And I'll be honest with you, I was never a fan of really Tim Bradley's while he's a fighter. He had skills. He's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he? He's not. Yeah. I believe he's in the Hall of Fame. I think he got lucky because he stepped on Pacquiao's foot and he got the knockout. So, but it is what it is. But I got to give Bradley credit. I like him much better as a commentator than I did a boxer. And I think his ring knowledge, his boxing accoutrement is significantly higher as a ring guy than what I used to watch in the ring. And when I say ring guy, commentating on the fight. Sure. So when he's calling your boy out, I understand why.
Well, here's the thing with Tank. I think I'm not sure what he's looking for. I don't get it. I don't know that if I'm Tank Davis, if I really have any legitimate concerns of anybody out there right now, at least in my weight class. I mean, he hurt Garcia, crippled him. I don't know. I mean, Pitbull would have been a nice one, but he beat Pitbull, and then Pitbull lost his fight. But he's going to get the rematch with Valenzuela. So maybe after this fight, I don't know. I mean, Lamont Roach is not a soft opponent, but rather untested.
But don't forget, he's calling him up from what, 125, 130 to 135. That's where Bradley was banging him out. You're calling up another small guy. Fight who's there. You move up to whatever. Why are you calling up these small guys? So, and I understand you said you wanted Lomo. Lomo's like, I'm not interested in that fight. Okay, we'll move on. But there's better fights for you at 135 than calling up a smaller guy. You know what I mean? It just is.
Yeah,
to me.
I agree with you. Loma's talking about retirement. I thought that was pretty obvious, quite frankly. Just just the way that interview went after his last fight, and just seeing some of his basically his body language and some of the conversations.
He just wasn't in it. He just looked.
Yeah. I hear you. I mean, but I think Bradley took it a little farther than it needed to. I'm not sure what he's trying to accomplish there, but I mean, Tank Davis, I don't think he's ducking anybody. quite frank. I think people duck him. I don't think anyone's in a hurry to get in the ring with him. They want that payday. But
and I get that. But let's not forget, Terrence Crawford, to the experienced and educated boxers, knew he was getting ducked.
Oh, yeah.
Because he couldn't get anybody to sign. Tank signed Roach. Tank signed on this. Tank wasn't out there screaming for anybody else. Tank wasn't out there screaming for guys and they're moving on. No, he wasn't screaming for Los Santos. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why Bradley's like, okay, if you're calling out guys, Lomo said it wasn't that. Okay. This guy said that'd be one thing. That's not how it went down. Lomo said he didn't want to fight. You're sitting here doing this, that, and this, that, and the third. And then you sign Roach. That to me was that came out of nowhere. I didn't even know they were in the talks for that, to be honest with you.
No.
So I think that, and here's the thing. We're in a kumbaya time now in sports where football players at the end of the game, they're exchanging jerseys and they're doing it. No, what are you doing? You are my opponent. Yeah. I don't need your game jersey signed. I'm not a fanboy. You know what I mean? This is how we do our job. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I feed my family. I want to be in the Hall of Fame. I want to be in the best in the business. And we can be friends, but we do realize that you don't see just, I don't know, man. And I'm saying that to say, you see all these, talking heads. Nobody ever wants to call anybody out anymore. You know what I mean? You'll see it rarely, but nobody calls anybody out. Another guy wants to get paid. Yeah, give him the bag. He deserves it. We're seeing this. Oh, he's one of the best guys in the game. No, he's not. You're saying you're being a victim of the moment because this guy in a certain sport has had a great game, so now he's the best to ever do it. No. So I'm sort of glad he called him out. You want to say and be in top pound for pound, you say you're the man. So to be the man, you got to beat the man. What are you doing? So that's I wasn't feeling that, man. But I understand where Bradley's coming from, and I liked it. I like it. You want to say you're the big dog, then don't come down here. Don't come down here for these smaller. Go up, or call. Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about the fight. Beterbiev and Bivol. 12 round. I'm not gonna. I guess I'm gonna call it a controversial decision because a lot of people are torn on it. Did the judges get it right in your view, Chops? Did you feel Beterbiev won this fight? I scored this myself. I don't know if you did, but what were your thoughts on it?
I had Bivol. I want to say 115, 113. I think I had him by 2.
Okay.
But here's the thing. A lot of those rounds were close. So I can't get mad if it went to Beterbiev. I can't get mad if it went to Bivol because to me it was close. So, and if I had it 115, 113, you might have had for Bivol, you might have had it 115, 113 for Beterbiev. To me, it was that close. And I think the people that are mad are Bivol's camp. And if it had went the other way around, Beterbiev's camp would have been upset. And they're both right. Two things can be right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Was it a good decision? It could have went either way to me. It really could have. It really could have.
So I did score 115, 113 for Beterbiev.
Okay.
And I posted on our Twitter handle and on our Facebook page, I could see this have easily been a draw. I could easily have seen it gone the way you saw it, 115, 113. But I'm telling you, it was that close. I can understand folks questioning the one judge having it 116, 112. No.
Excuse me. Here's the thing on that. Because I thought about that. No, I didn't see it that lopsided. And you can say it's a makeup call or whatever you want, but I also look at it this way. A lot of those were close rounds. And if you say that was a close round, I'm giving it to Bivol. Man, that was another close round. But I think Bivol because he threw more. Beterbiev landed and Beterbiev walked him down, but Bivol landed more. So if you do that for 2 or 3, 4 rounds, you would have Bivol winning by 4 points. But the fight was never that lopsided. But to me, where I say it's a makeup call, and I've done it, okay, that was a close round 5. I'm going to give that to Beterbiev. Man, that was a close round 6. I'm going to give that to Bivol. And no real reason because it could have went either way. And because I know it's a close fight, I'm not going to give a guy 3 and 4 or 5 rounds straight because of this, that if it's a close fight and I can't determine who's a winner because you walked him down, you were the aggressor. He landed more punches, but you were the aggressor. what do you hold more weight on? Who landed more punches or who had more ring command? You know what I'm saying? Who walked two more down? So I don't know. So I understand how he might have had it 116, 112 because it was a close round, but I'm going to give it to Bivol. It was a close round, but I'm going to give it to Bivol. But you're not realizing and thinking past what you're doing. Now you're making it look like it's not a close fight, and it was. So I understand what I'm doing may be makeup. Well, I gave the last one to this guy. I'll give this one to this guy. Well, why'd you do that if you thought he won? Because the same argument I'm making this round, I could have made last round. So if I gave it to A on this round, I'm giving it to B this round. That, because to me, is that kind of fight. It's that close the whole way through. To me, it was.
It absolutely was. And there were several rounds. Most of the rounds, in my view, were after the first 2 minutes, I was sitting there going, okay, show me something this last 60 seconds because it's dead.
Yes. And there's a couple things. Now, you and I were talking, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest with you, and I've been thinking about it, and I really want you to explain it because you said great skill set on display. I have a real hard problem with that, and here's why.
Okay.
Beterbiev, tight guard, just continued to walk him down. Wasn't keeping his head off the line. Not saying everybody's Pernell Whitaker or Mayweather, but he wasn't getting a lot of movement. Beterbiev was using every inch of that ring. He wasn't rolling the shoulder, you know what I mean, and making him miss a whole lot.
No.
We knew what was going to happen. Each round, I did think more leather was going to be thrown. I thought there was going to be blood. I did think Bivol was going to be more aggressive. So I think maybe he respected Beterbiev a lot more than I thought he was going to, really. And he doesn't run. Bivol isn't on his bike, and I don't want to disrespect and say he was on his bike, but he doesn't move that much in most fights. He really doesn't. Not to me, he didn't. What I've seen, you know what I'm saying? So he moved a lot. But when he decided to stop, bing, 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 and get back out, because he landed more, you know what I'm saying? But Beterbiev stuck to his game plan. I'm going to walk you down. I'm going to walk you down. It was, just hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good fight because I never knew if somebody was going to land a heavy shot and put the other one on Quiz Street or cut him.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an entertaining fight to me. It wasn't to me because I expected so much more, which is my own fault.
No, it's not your fault. I mean, I thought this was going to be fight of the year, and it was still okay. If I'm viewing this, this was not a great fight for boxing. If you're trying to get the casual fan to embrace the sport, it didn't do that. Much like Floyd Mayweather's performance against Pacquiao didn't do that at all.
Exactly.
But if you're a boxing fan and you understand defensive fighting and understand that not every fight is going to end in 90 seconds like a Tyson fight in 85.
Yeah.
Oh, now Bivol was brilliantly efficient in this fight. He landed, I think, 54% of his punches. Now, here's the problem. And I believe this is why he lost. It's why he lost on my card. Not that my card counted, but it's why he lost on my card. Was Beterbiev landed almost exactly the same amount of punches, chops, and threw nearly 200 more. Now you could say he was sloppy. I argue he was busier. And he won rounds because he was throwing more. Did he land them all? No, but he sure as hell was trying to.
And that was crazy to me to see that because, but see, here's the thing. When you say we threw about the same amount, no, we landed about the same amount, but I threw 200 more. You would expect that opponent to be a Mayweather, to be a James Toney, to be a Pernell, someone who can move and you'll never see him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Bivol wasn't doing that. Bivol was, and I'm not disrespecting saying running. I don't want to say he was disrespectful in running, but he was on his horse a lot, and he was making sure he used every bit of canvas. So a lot of those punches that Bivol were throwing, and you figure he threw a whole lot of punches that didn't land, that takes a lot out of you. So if they run it back, I'm definitely going to watch it again. I want to see this. Beterbiev is who he is. He's not going to change. He's not going to change. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to be what he is. Bivol, I've never seen you use that much canvas. I've never seen you use that much real estate.
Yeah.
Or are you going to do the same thing? Or are you going to come in there and say, Pete in the sand, let's do it. Let's do it.
I thought in that fight, because you bring up a great point, that Bivol moved around a hell of a lot more in that fight than we've ever seen him move around. But I didn't think he did it because, ironically, I just happened to watch the Leonard Hagler fight again.
I know.
A couple days ago. I wanted to see it again. I haven't seen it in a while, you know. And Leonard ran effectively, but he did run. He was, and at least in the beginning and the end of the fight. In the middle rounds, he tried to engage, and he lost those rounds, in my view. But when he was moving, he won rounds. I think Bivol wasn't trying to win rounds by just sticking and moving. He was trying to bait Beterbiev into becoming overly aggressive. And to his credit, Beterbiev did not take the bait. He didn't take the bait. He did engage, but he didn't take any unnecessary chances that could have countered him, on the canvas, basically.
Yeah. And good. I'm sorry. Good. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that because he fought that way, it looked like a stalemate in a lot of ways. And then times it made Bivol look like he was running, but I really think he was trying to bait him into making a mistake.
Okay. So you need your corner because they see things you don't see. They call out punch combinations that you wouldn't throw in. Like you heard, Tyson's doing 4, 5, 6, whatever. Okay. At what point does your camp say, we need to abandon this? Because this isn't normally our scheme. He's too seasoned. He's not falling for it. We need to get in the pocket and throw. Or did they taste a little Beterbiev's power and realize we can't have a diet of this? I don't know. Because you know what I'm saying? Why you get to the pinnacle, you got to dance with who brought you. He can fight in a phone booth, Beterbiev. He does, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's not going to evaporate. He's not going to wilt in a moment. And I'm not saying he wilted against Beterbiev, but he moved a lot more than we expected. And I don't want to disrespect and say ran, but he moved a lot more than we expected. You know what I mean?
Put it this way. Bivol's left eye was pretty impacted. Most of that happened because Beterbiev was hitting his glove. You want to talk about power. When you can dodge dude's eye like that, and it's because you used his glove as a punching bag. I tell you what, Beterbiev's got some serious ass power. So Bivol was wise to fight the way he did. He just didn't do quite enough. And we're talking, this is finite, man. But look at this fight. I think a lot of people perceive Bivol as the champ because he beat Canelo, and Bivol had the WBA belt and the IBO, but Beterbiev had the other three.
Yeah.
So, but he didn't have the win over Canelo.
Yes.
So to me, I like scoring this fight. I don't mean to interrupt you. I like scoring this fight because I didn't score it with any kind of champion's bias. I'm like, you got to show me. This is straight up. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. But see, but also it's funny that you mentioned that about Bivol, because you're right. He beat Canelo. He beat him up. He beat him up. However, and he stood in front of him. He didn't move. He didn't use the real estate against Canelo that he did against Beterbiev. But nobody seems to remember, you and I do, but a lot of these fans, your boy moved up. Canelo moved up to fight Bivol.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So the smaller guy was coming up. The guy who had more to lose was coming up. So I don't know, man, but I'm not mad at the decision. I'm really not. And so it came down to, what do you like more? The fighter who's busier throwing punches, or because when you looked at it from a visual standpoint, yes, we knew that Bivol was landing, but how many times did we see Beterbiev backing up? Not a whole lot. That's a lasting impression in your mind.
Yeah.
Beterbiev walked Bivol down most of the fight. That leaves a lasting impression. When I'm walking you down and you're moving around, it does in some judges' eyes look like you're running. You're a warrior. This is not what you do. You go out on your shield. You come to bring it. That's what we come to expect from you. That's not what we're getting tonight. I don't know what the judges were thinking. I'd love to know what they thought and how they scored it. Now they run it back. What does Bivol do? Because again, you saw his face while he was getting punched in his own gloves.
Yeah.
What does he do? And he realizes that didn't win for me. So do I run? I hate to say that, man. I hate to say that. Do I use this real estate for the first 7-8 rounds and then try to go toe-to-toe with him the last 4? Because honestly, up at the last 2 rounds, it was still anybody's fight in my mind. Last 3 rounds, it was still anybody's fight. You know what I mean? So technically, I don't know, man. I just don't know.
I definitely, I mean, we were talking, we definitely want to see a rematch and we would watch it for sure.
Yeah, we would. And here's the thing. Okay, why do you want to see the rematch? And I'm asking for a reason. Tell me why you want to see that rematch. Well, again, to me, it was a boring fight, but tell me why you want to see it.
Well, it was a boring fight in my view if I'm just looking for haymakers and submissions.
Yes,
but if I'm looking at pure skill boxing, I enjoyed it a lot. Number one, I think it was such a close fight. The fact that both were champions going into the fight, they both deserved a rematch, to be honest with you. Bivol deserves a rematch. It would have been the other way around. I would have said the same thing. The only way I would have said no is if it was a knockout within the first 5 rounds. I'm like, maybe they need to wait.
And he punished him. Whoever punished, yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's how I see it. And but the thing is, I expect more from both of them in a rematch, and I believe they could bring more in a rematch. The question is, who's going to blink first? Who's going to take that chance and roll the dice? They didn't risk a whole lot in this fight because they had a lot of respect for each other, in my view. That's the only reason that fight went down the way it did.
Well, I don't know that I say Bivol had to Beterbiev had to respect Bivol's power because of what he has, the belts, whatever. But the way he fought didn't show a whole lot of respect. And I say that because he continued to come forward. He continued the whole time to come forward. I don't want to say walking into his power, but it wasn't like he was penduluming in. It wasn't like he was coming at an angle, giving the shoulder. He was coming in, throw at me what you got. So my thing is, yes. And if they run it back, I'm watching it. Yes, I said it was a boring fight, but if they run it back, I'm going to watch it. But here's what I ask you. What will be different? Well, I'm asking you as a corner man, whether you're Beterbiev's or Bivol's, what's going to be different?
So Beterbiev's corner, to me, isn't the game plan shouldn't change much. Although I would like to see more of that head movement going in, because to me, he doesn't strike me as a machismo type guy, Beterbiev. And I know we're going tight on time here, but Beterbiev isn't that kind of guy. But he walked him down, but that's exactly what he did. He walked him down. So it was bang, 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 stick, move, and then out we go. I mean, a quick 3 or 4 point scoring on a combination, and then Bivol then he sidesteps him. To me, Beterbiev's got to be more aggressive. I'm not saying he needs to be overly aggressive, but he's definitely got to be more aggressive. But Bivol on his side, he's got to do more. He's got to do more.
He's got to.
He didn't even put a mark on him, really. You've got to do more.
Yeah. And we give him that respect that he has to do more, and we expect him more because we've seen it so much in the past. You know what I mean? And Drew, we got to get out of here, but we could talk about this on and on. Let me ask you this real quick. Simple yes, no, one word answer. Do they run it back first, or does Bivol look for another opponent?
No, I think they need to run it back first. Okay. I would like to see at some point, maybe come springtime, maybe they run it back for that, or maybe late March, something like that.
I was thinking late March. I was thinking late March. Okay. Yep. Hey man, real quick. So like I said, I wish we wanted to touch this one. Man, I wanted to touch this one. It's gonna be a good one. I'm gonna take 10 seconds.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Tszyu. I know he's a smaller fighter, and they're both counter punchers, but they're aggressive. I'm going with Tszyu. Who you got?
Murtazaliev is a strong fighter. I watched some clips of him. I don't know much about him. What I saw, I liked, but at the end of the day, I got to go with Tszyu. But I think it's going to actually go to distance. I think he's going to take him to distance, but it's going to be a tough fight. But I like Tim Tszyu is in here as well. Mostly, I know more about him, and I agree with you though.
Well, I definitely want to recap this fight next week. I wish we could have gotten into it better and broken it down, but we would definitely recap it, man.
Absolutely.
So, you know me, man. I loved it. Sorry, Justin's got some things going on. He couldn't make it tonight, but great show, man. Love being on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining, and thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We're on the ESEN network. Been checking that banner all 60 minutes of this podcast. Check us out there. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Facebook. Thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HeySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.